Now, as we work through all our various modified tools up here, we're going to have to select objects. They all work a little bit differently. When you do an align tool, you really don't select an object. You kind of pick a face type of thing. But a lot of these other ones in here, mirror and offset and copy and trim and rotate and move, we have to select the objects. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that before we continue to talk about the different tools themselves. So what we've got here is we've got some props. So there's different ways to select objects. Whether you're going to move or copy or rotate, we'll talk about that a little bit later. And they all work a bit differently. Some of them you can select the objects first and then pick the tool. Some of them you have to pick the tool first before you pick the object. And we'll see that as we go through them. Okay? But the fact is, when you do select the object at one point, there's various ways of selecting, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's more than just what I've listed here and what we're about to show you. So regardless of what the command is, we're going to talk about how to select things. And the first one on our list is just the regular click or pick. So what happens there is you just hover over an object. If you hover over an object, it'll give you a little tooltip and tell you what it is, and it'll also tell you on your status bar down here. So without even picking anything, you can get some information. So if you hover over an object, it'll highlight. If you don't get the object you want, you can use your tab key to cycle between different objects in the area. So hovering and then tab, tab, tab. That will always cycle you. Okay, so you can always use the tab key to cycle between various selection options, be it a face or an object or however it is. Okay, so you can hover and you can tab, and then when you get the one you want, you simply click or pick. If you pick one object, you'll get a bunch of properties, at which point you can go in and edit the type and edit the properties. If you want to add more objects, hold the control button on your keyboard and look what happens. I don't know if you can see it. Your mouse turns into a little plus symbol, you'll see. Then what happens is if you pick another object, it adds it to the selection set. And you pick another one, I'm adding. Okay, pick another one, add. So just regular clicking. Take your finger off the control button, and then if you use the shift key, it removes objects. Removing, removing, removing. So you can go indefinitely removing and adding with your control and shift key. With a regular pick, just a regular mouse pick, and using your shift and control and then your tab button to cycle through the area. Okay, so that's a regular just picking an object. Okay. We also have what is called press and drag, which is what happens is you can move or copy an object. If down here on the bottom right, if your press and drag is enabled, what happens is you can press on an object, hold your mouse button in, and move it without having to give a command, and then click out to stop. Okay. Pick on an object, press, and drag, and let it go. It stays selected. You can go over and you can change properties on it, and anything else you want with it. Okay, so you can then continue using your control button and picking more objects. When you're done and you want to clear your selection from anything, you can either hit escape or you can just click nothing. Sometimes clicking nothing is easier said than done. It gets very busy, so sometimes you have to just click the modify button, and that will clear your selection set. Or if you hit escape on the keyboard a couple of times, will also clear your selection set. So clicking nothing, but sometimes clicking nothing is tricky. Okay. The next thing we have on our list is selecting with a window. Okay. What a window means is if you pick and go to the right. Now you have to be careful, because if my press and drag is on, you see this text? If I try to do a window here, look what happens. I end up moving that text. That's because my press and drag is on. So I've started editing that. So if you press and drag text, it moves. But text has this big frame on it, so you have to be aware of the objects. Press and drag. So if you wanted to do a window here, you'd want to turn this off, and that way when you do your press and drag, you're not going to select anything. You can do press and drag right on top of something. Okay? Or window box, I should say. So if the press and drag is off, you don't worry about highlighting something. If this is on and you try to do a window here, you have to be careful. It'll all of a sudden try to move it. So I leave this on most of the time myself.